Welcome back to the Tempo Store Meta Snapshot breakdown for September 3rd, 2017. The Frozen Throne ladder continues to be a testing ground for emerging archetypes and new deck lists. However, more decks are closer to finding their optimal iterations for more consistent results, making it harder for new decks to rise to the top of the ladder. As the second season of the Frozen Throne meta begins, let's take a look at the most recent shuffles in the tier lists, and the latest decks to join the Tempo Store Meta Snapshot. Jade and Aggro Druid continue to reign over the ladder in Tier S as a duo of decks that have warped the Hearthstone meta since the expansion's launch. Mid-range Token Druid and Ramp Druid have been relegated to the bottom of Tier 1, as they're no longer able to keep up in terms of superior performance and consistency that had made them Tier S before. Kazakus Priest sits comfortably for another week at the top of Tier 1. Its range of strategies centered on Kazakus, Rise of the Chained, and Shadow Reaper Anduin make the archetype the most well-rounded in terms of matchups. With the meta becoming gradually more aggressive, decks like Aggro Druid have demoted the anti-control Quest Mage archetype down to the middle of Tier 2, putting Kazakus Priest in an even better position to climb the ladder. Mid-range Murloc Paladin and Pirate Warrior have seen little change, continuing to perform well on the ladder in their current iterations. While Murloc Paladin remains the more consistent force to contest Jade and Ramp Druid, Pirate Warrior continues to take advantage of experimental and slower decks, like Big Priest and Quest Mage. Notable mentions at the top of Tier 2 are Control Mage, Big Priest, and Miracle Rogue, all of which continue to show promise on the ladder despite the rise of aggro. Big Priest players are transitioning into using Greater Healing Potion over Priest of the Feast for more explosive bursts of healing. Miracle Rogue players have since removed the former deck staple Sherazin in favor of Valyra the Hollow, relying on the archetype's repertoire of removal and value spells to control the game until Valyra can shine. The newest deck to join the tier list is Hand Buff Paladin. The addition of Prince Keleseth, Righteous Protector, and Bone Mare have resurrected Dimitri's of Gadgetzyan's most experimental deck. Though it is a Tier 3 deck, Kibler gave the archetype its recent popularity with his Prince Handbuff Paladin reaching top 100 legend. Most opponents will mulligan actively for the mid-range Murloc matchup when encountering a Paladin on the ladder, giving the deck a surprisingly high win rate due to how polarizing their strategies are. Handbuff Paladin can do well against most matchups, with early game minions to contest aggro, and late game threats like Tyrion Fordring, the Lich King, and Bone Mare to close out the game. However, Handbuff Paladin's success on the tier list will depend on how it performs against Jade Druid and its aggressive counters. Control Mage returns to the Meta Snapshot at the top of Tier 2 with more options than ever before, seeing as high as top 10 legend by Kolento. Control Mage can utilize freeze and removal spells to either set up a burn lethal with Alexstrasza or grind the opponent out of resources, relying on Frostlich Jaina to generate immense value with life-stealing water elementals. Though it performs better against Exodia Mage and is overall more consistent than Exodia Mage, it's still vulnerable to aggro decks and the Jade Druid matchup. With the beginning of the new season, Druid will continue to reign over the meta. This is mostly because no deck performs well against both aggro and Jade Druid, the only ones doing moderately well against both being mid-range Token Druid and Ramp Druid. Aggro Druid continues to overwhelm both Pirate Warrior and mid-range Murloc Paladin, while continuing to be a viable counter to Jade Druid. This is one of the main reasons why Kazakus Priest sits at the top of Tier 1, as one of the few viable decks on the ladder with a high win rate against Aggro Druid and holding its own against control decks thanks to Shadow Reaper Anduin. If you're seeing more Kazakus Priest on the ladder than Jade Druid, consider switching to Big Priest or Ramp Druid to outvalue the Highlander list. While Skulking Geist may seem like an auto-include in every deck when facing a stream of Jade Druids, keep in mind how your deck is trying to win and how Skulking Geist helps to accomplish that. For instance, Control Mage or Control Warlock have late-game strategies that do well in the absence of Jade Idols. Skulking Geist is a tech card that is most effective in control decks that have the ability to pressure Jade Druid in the ultra-late game. Decks like Kazakus Priest, on the other hand, will struggle against Jade Druid in the late game regardless of the presence of Jade Idols, so will find greater overall success on the ladder by adding cards that best support the archetype's greatest strengths, or improve matchups against more traditional counters. Finally, consider using Control Warlock on the ladder when queuing into more Shaman and Paladin matchups. More players are relying on Paladin's Murloc strategy and Token Shaman's burst potential to contest aggro decks and Jade Druid. So Defile and Control Warlock's anti-aggro build can really shine in the right meta state and earn you a stream of convincing victories. The ladder still sees new decks and strategies being played at the highest ranks of Legend. The HCT Europe Summer Playoffs gave us a good indication of what archetypes we'll expect to see more of all the way up to the 2017 Hearthstone World Championship. While Jade and Aggro Druid remain meta-dominant decks, the latter continues to see new lists being tested almost daily. Take advantage of this experimental phase by refining current popular decks or creating ones of your own. The full potential of the Frozen Throne expansion has yet to be seen, and your results may shake the meta in unexpected ways. If you enjoyed this Meta Snapshot breakdown, leave us a like or a favorite, and be sure to subscribe to stay tuned to all of Tempostorm's news and Hearthstone content, including our upcoming deck introduction to Control Warlock.